Live. Brilliant. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another Facebook Live session with me, Steve Sharp, from the British Council Teaching Centre in America. In today's session, we are going to be talking about IELTS, a hot topic as always. And with me to discuss this topic are two of my colleagues. I have Sabiha. Hi, Sabiha. How are you?
Hi, Steve. I'm fine. Thank you.
Brilliant. This is my first time doing a Facebook Live session with you, so I'm very excited. And we have Shiva, who's come back to join us as well. Hello, Shiva.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you doing?
Good.
Brilliant. I noticed that I've got my Facebook Live shirt back on. I thought, let's get back to the traditions.
Right.
We are going to be talking about IELTS, and more importantly, trying to break down some myths that students and candidates have about the exam. We're also going to talk about some resources available and talking about our IELTS preparation courses. And as always, we'll answer some of your questions. So let's start with some of these IELTS myths, all right? So the first one I want to break down is doing an IELTS preparation course will allow me to get a higher mark in the IELTS exam. Sabiha, what do you think about this?
So IELTS is a test that tests your English. So it's important that you improve your English first. And then sit for the exam. So the preparation course will acquaint you with the strategies, the techniques, and then the types of questions that you will come across. It is not going to improve your English. So it's important that you improve your English first and then sit for the IELTS to sort of get the desired score that you need.
Definitely, yes, I couldn't agree more. All right. Shiva, what are your thoughts on this?
To some extent, it is true. I mean, if you know what to expect in the IELTS test, of course, it's going to help your score a little bit. But you really need to have that strong base of English first to reach your desired score.
Yeah, I think as Sabiha said, it's a proficiency test. It's testing your level of English. So you need to have a good basis before you sit for the exam. And obviously the preparation course will teach you the techniques, etc. So yeah. But how can students improve their level of general English, Siwa? Can you give any suggestions?
They need to expose themselves to English as much as they can. Read books. Watch movies, listen to the radio, listen to music, get that exposure. But with the input, you also need output. So speak to somebody who knows English. Speak as much as you can. Try doing writing more often. You need to use the language in order to get better at it.
Definitely. Sabiha, any other suggestions on how students can improve their general level of English?
So I was going to say, find a friend who speaks good English. Speak to that friend. And if you think you need to sort of level up and improve your English, do an English course. Do a course which is going to improve your English before you actually do an IELTS preparation course. So, do a course and then check out, see what areas that you need to improve on. You might be good at speaking, but your writing needs to be improved, so that needs to identify it. So do a course if that needs that's needed.
And we have courses at the British Council for improving people's general English and also IELTS preparation, and we're going to talk more about that later on. Okay, let's move on to another one, another myth. This one is my favorite. It gets me every time. In the speaking exam, I will lose marks if I don't have an Australian, American, British accent. Sabiha, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to break the myth.
Please do.
No, the accent actually does not matter at all. It's about your English, whether you can speak clearly and the examiner can understand you. It's the sound of English, whether your sound of English is correct. So you can have British, American, Australian, or any other accent, or you may not have any. It really doesn't matter. It's what matters is whether the examiner can understand you, whether you have been able to communicate your ideas uh, clearly,
Hmm.
um, to communicate your message to the examiner. That's what matters.
Yes, definitely. Shiwa, what do you think about this myth?
I just want to emphasize that there is a difference between accent and pronunciation. Focus on the pronunciation, accent doesn't matter. So if you have specific problems, like you can't pronounce a certain sound, work on that. Work on your pronunciation. Try to speak clearly. Make sure you're understandable. That's what you're being tested on.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. There's a term, as an experienced IELTS speaking examiner, there's a term that we use called intelligibility, and it's the candidate's ability to produce language clearly that doesn't have a negative effect on the listener, in this case the examiner. So I think in the past I've given band 8, band 9s to some candidates who are very strong and they still have a little bit of an accent, but I can understand them. So, you know, I think this whole, oh, I need to speak like a native speaker just really needs to go out of the window, because 9 times out of 10, it does, because 9 times out of 10, students go out into the real world, they're not necessarily going to be communicating with native speakers of English. They will be communicating with high-level speakers of English. So, yes, you don't have to have a native English accent in order to get a high grade on the a high band score on the speaking test. So I'm glad that we clarified that now. Another one of my favorites. If my opinion is different from the examiner in the speaking and writing exam, I will lose marks. Shiwa, what do you think?
You are being tested on your ability to speak the language, not on the quality of your ideas.
Yes, I couldn't have put it clearer myself.
Yeah, you can have ideas that completely disagree with the examiner as long as you're able to express yourself. The 4 areas they look at is your grammar, your vocabulary, your fluency, and your pronunciation. There's nothing about your ideas that they're going to judge you on. Don't worry about that. Disagree all you want.
As
some of them do actually, Shiwa. Yes,
they do. Yes.
Sabiha, what do you think about this myth?
As long as your ideas are logical and you can provide proper reasonings, obviously you shouldn't sound illogical and irrational. There has to be a proper sequence of ideas and you can express it logically. That's what matters.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't agree more. You know, in the writing exam, it's your ideas on how to answer the question. In the speaking exam, it's a discussion in part 3. You know, people have different opinions. That's fine, as long as you can justify them and put your ideas out clearly. And you know, that's absolutely fine. All right, we've got some questions from viewers, and we've got one from Hamid Maksud Alam. How can we get a good score in IELTS? Sabiha, what do you think on this one? That's quite a big question, actually.
I think that's what we've been talking about. How you can sort of, you know, how you need to improve your English, and you know, how you work on your language first. If your language is high, if your level of English is high, you're going to get good score anyway. It really doesn't matter. You know, so that's the very first thing that you need to improve on is your language. Work on your language, improve your English. That matters the most.
Yeah. Okay. Shiwa, anything to add to that one?
The same, improve your level of English and then learn about the format of the test. That should be enough to get your desired score.
Yeah, definitely. And just to add to that as well, this whole session is about realizing you need to have a good level of general English first, and then you need to do an IELTS preparation course in order to understand what the format of the exam is, what question types are, the techniques to answer the questions, time management, etc. All right, good. We've got another question from Moni here, who asks, can you please give us some good tips for the reading test? Shiva, throw this one to you first. Any idea?
Yeah, for reading, work on your time management. Use shortcuts like skimming and scanning. Don't try to read the whole text at once. Learn strategies on how to locate your answer, prediction, underlining keywords, and how all of that works together in order to help you save time and find your answers quicker.
Good. Okay. Sabiha, anything else to add to that?
You also need to get used to the fact that reading a big passage in a limited time, so which you may not be used to in your everyday life.
Yeah.
So that's something that you need to get your exposure. You need to get exposed to. So maybe regularly read a newspaper, a good newspaper.
Yeah.
So that you are exposed to more reading than as usual. So you need to get used to this, used to reading.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's very, very difficult to suddenly one day sit down and read a big passage.
Yeah.
And answer 10 questions.
Definitely. I think for reading and listening,
15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think for reading and listening, you need to get into the habit of doing this on a daily basis before then going on to IELTS course, definitely. We've got a few people who are asking about when the IELTS exams will start again at the British Council Bangladesh. We have resumed paper-based and computer-delivered IELTS testing. So please refer to the British Council website. We have information there. Okay. All right, let's get back to our discussion. So we've been talking about the importance of exposure to English to improve our general level before we take an IELTS preparation course. Shiva, can you give us some tips on how we can improve our general level of English?
Expose yourself to the language. Read as much as you can. Read anything you can get your hands on. It doesn't have to be an actual book or a novel. Read blogs, read websites, read newspaper articles, magazine articles, anything you can find. Read every day. Listen to something new every day. Read something new every day. Speak to people. If it's your family, your colleagues, use the language on a daily basis wherever you can. Use it to do your daily activities. That'll help you get your fluency there. Practice your writing, practice organizing your ideas and summarizing them and putting them down on paper and pen. The English is such that if you don't use it, you lose it. You have to use it every day.
Same with any language, yes, you've got to keep it up, definitely. Sabiha, any other resources that are available to our students?
Yes. Well, this thing is the British Council, BritishCouncil.org. That's our website, British Council website, and you have tons of stuff in it. Whether you're talking about reading, writing, listening, speaking, grammar, vocabulary, podcast, videos, lots of things. I mean, that's the best website, and the best thing about it is it's free. You could just log in and you can start practicing. And of course, you want specialized IELTS material and other things. You can visit our takeielts.britishcouncil.org. That also has.
Brilliant. So we've got some really good pieces of advice there. Go on to the Learn English, British Council Learn English website for specific activities, free activities for all of the skills. There is Take IELTS as well for test prep that you can access for free. And then on a daily basis, try to incorporate some aspect of English into your daily life. And this will answer a question that we've got from Alauddin. How can we get IELTS easily by doing a full-time job? So I think the question you're asking is, how can I improve my English and prepare for the IELTS when I've got a full-time job? If you can analyze certain areas of your life where you can expose yourself to English for 15, 20, 30 minutes, like reading a book before going to bed, listening to a podcast that you can download onto your phone during your lunch hour, speaking with some colleagues, all of these things will help you to improve your general English level and expand your vocabulary. For preparation courses, well, that's what we're going to talk about next. You could join one of our IELTS Coach online courses. Sabiha, you mentioned earlier about the importance of test preparation and how they prepare people for it. Can you talk to us a little bit about our IELTS preparation classes, please?
So our course will expose you to the different strategies, the different techniques, and the skills that you'll need to do the IELTS exam. Say, for example, because we referred to reading, say, for example, you find that reading is difficult, then you can sort of choose lessons only on reading. So our course has flexibility based on the skill, based on the time, and you can even choose your own, you can choose the teacher also. So a lot of flexibility is there. So if you have identified which particular area you think you need to improve on more compared to the other skills, then you can choose, say, for example, all the lessons in that. For example, writing, you can choose all our writing lessons. And then get and you can find out about all the skills and the strategies and the techniques that you would need to be successful in that particular skill.
Definitely. It's, as we mentioned earlier, it's really important that you know what the format of the exam is, the timing, how many questions you're going to have to answer, the type of questions. Is it a true false, not given? Is it labeling, etc.? And being more aware of the criteria for the speaking and the writing, definitely. We've got another question here from Ashraful Alam. I've done an English course at the British Council at pre-intermediate level. Now I want to do another course. Which course will be better for me? I personally think that you need to do an intermediate level course just to bring your level from pre-intermediate to intermediate. And that will improve your general English, which is what we've been talking about. Then at the end of that, if you do want to prepare for the IELTS exam, then you can do one of our IELTS Coach online courses.
Online courses, right.
All right, we're coming towards the end now. Shiwa, have you got any final tips for our listeners?
Join our courses, download our apps. Our apps are great. We've got pronunciation apps, we've got grammar apps, we've even got IELTS apps, which if you do have a job or you have a busy schedule, those are great because when you're sitting in traffic, you could just take out your phone, open the app, and get some English practice in there. But continue learning. You can't just do one course and then end it there. You have to continue your learning even after your course is over.
I think as well, I want to really focus on that point. I studied languages, French and Spanish at university, and I went for a period of time of not using those languages, and I lost them, and I had to get back on track. And I've got to a point now where I'm exposing myself to those two languages on a daily basis by reading books, reading the news, watching series on Netflix, listening to podcasts. You need to have a constant routine. Like consistency is really, really important when you're learning any type of language. And we mentioned earlier about improving your pronunciation. One thing I used to do at university was I would listen to songs in French and Spanish, and I would read the lyrics at the same time. And as I was listening, I would try to say the words in exactly the same way as the singers did. And it worked wonders for my pronunciation and also my listening skills. So there are loads of techniques out there, but consistency is the key. You've got to keep on doing it. And as Shiwa said, you can't just do one course, then bam, that's it. Like, learning happens in the classroom, but actually it needs to continue outside of the classroom. That's really where the development starts to happen. Right?
Yep.
Brilliant. I think we've come to the end now. So thank you very much for a fruitful, insightful Facebook Live session. If any of you are interested in finding out more information about our IELTS preparation courses or our general English courses, please check out the British Council website, which is in the link below. Or if you want to write a comment in the comment box, our customer service team will get back to you with more information. Thank you very much, Shiwa, for joining me again. And thank you for joining me for the first time, Sabiha. I really enjoyed it. And we will be back same time, same place next week. All right. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.